Hey folks, it is Kenny Jang here with the Zoomies. I'm calling this new series, this temporary series called the Zoomies, because I feel like everyone is just living on Zoom back to back now. If you're doing any sort of business or trying to get anything done in terms of connecting with other people. And so this episode of the Zoomies, I am connecting with my friend across the interwebs and across the entire country, apparently. It is technically accurate that Kent is on the West Coast, but let's check in with Kent Woodyard. Where are you, Kent?
I am in my penthouse loft overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's an incredible view. Really blessed. Hashtag blessed. You know, business is good, Kenny. Wait, can I remove a Zoom? I'm going to remove a Zoom background while I'm here, so that people can see where I really am.
Yeah, because I was about to be upset. You never invited me to that penthouse overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge.
No, I'm in a walk-in closet out of my master bedroom here outside of Seattle. It's spacious, not as scenic, but spacious. And this is where I live. This is where I do my Zoom calling, Kenny. This is where I am for 8 to 10 hours a day, hiding from my children, trying to maintain some semblance of professional productivity.
I believe we're going to have many people watching and hearing this. They're going to have an outpouring of empathy because they literally are watching this probably from some closet, hiding from the children, trying to get some quiet while getting work.
You should start selling like Kenny's background in a box. You know, like you get a plant, you get like a little stand, you get a little not even a real TV. It can just be like a TV placeholder. And you just ship it to people, because man, if I had that background, I would love what I'm doing right now. But this is a temporary arrangement, and it's not ideal.
Yes, and I even have my my boom mic, which everyone loves.
Gold plated, no less.
Looks
wow.
Cool. So we're talking about your latest project. Kent, you're an entrepreneur at heart, and I really love this idea. I just want to come on quickly and share with people what you are doing. And this is what I posted on LinkedIn, is that if you actually have the Zoomies, meaning you're getting restless of sitting in your chair, having your butt in front of Zoom. I spent 165 hours in March on Zoom calls, apparently. You can look it up. That's the latest game, Ken. So you can look it up in your Zoom account, how many hours you've been on Zoom. And it was 165 for me in March. I'm trying to figure out what that's going to be in April. But it gives you a little stir craziness. And I think what you need to do is find some normalcy, or go back to the pre-COVID days and find some of the routines that really were part of your normalcy. And to me, some of that is your commute and listening to podcasts. And I think that provides some rest, renewal, some escape, and really gets you back into the rhythm so that you can combat these Zoomies. So I'm so glad you're contributing to that life-giving, activity that I think so many people need to figure out how to rediscover. Let's find some podcasts and let's get inspired and dream again, instead of doing Zooms in the closet all day. So tell us about your latest project. What's the name of the podcast? And what is the premise?
It's called The Dream Job. TheDreamJobPodcast.com is the website. You can go to your favorite podcast player. Just do a search for The Dream Job. It's a project a buddy and I started back late 2019, so about 15 lifetimes ago. It was a very different world where we started this, and we're launching it now right in the middle of COVID, so an interesting time to be doing that. But we think it's an important conversation, and the tagline is pretty straightforward. It's real conversations with real people working jobs that they really love. Buddy and I were both in our mid-30s. We're both kind of, 10, 12 years into our careers. And we are, we enjoy our work. We're fortunate to have work that's what we still have jobs, for one. But we generally enjoy our work. But the reality is, the deeper you dig into it, most people don't. And that's just not an anecdote. That's statistically, most people are either actively disengaged or just kind of generally blah at work. The number was as high as 87% of worldwide workers were somewhere disengaged or apathetic at their jobs. So we saw this. We said, man, we're going to spend most of our lives working. Kenny, you 165 hours in March. That's probably at the top 1%. You work me into the ground. But even those the slackers like us, we're still going to put in probably 90 to 100,000 hours at the office during our jobs and our adult lives. And if most of us hate the way we're spending all of that time, gosh, that's a real bummer. And then the other driver behind it was, it's a natural thing when you meet somebody new, conversations get shift to, oh, hey, you're Kenny, cool. Like, where do you live? And that's fun. Like, what do you do for work, Kenny? And you're gonna start talking about your job. And we've all been in conversations where you talk to somebody who just very apparently loves their work, and it just kind of pours out of them. It's like, oh my gosh, like, let me just tell you, I don't care if I'm doing like digital marketing, if I'm doing healthcare, if I'm a teacher, if I'm a politician, whatever it is, it kind of flows out of them. And we've also been on the other side of that where people are like, yeah, I don't know, I'm in sales. It's, it's fine. It's fine. And you just can tell like, oh, okay, you hate it. Whoa. And so the thought was, man, we know people who love what they do. Let's just put a mic in front of them, wind them up, and like just talk about it and understand like what that feels like, how they got there. Not necessarily even in like a prescriptive, like here's 4 steps to a better career kind of an approach, but more like let's just tell their story and let's understand a little bit more about what that feels like. And then hopefully for us as interviewers and for people as listeners, they can pull something out of it that maybe inspires them to take a leap, to go start a side hustle, to go make a career change. Maybe they've been forced by COVID to contemplate a career change, right? Unintentionally and maybe without really wanting to. And so just kind of helping shape that conversation and maybe help folks think differently about their jobs, I guess.
Yes. The catchphrase I'm saying right now is COVID is inspiring creativity, and you're going to see a lot of new things that are birthed out of this whole thing. It's almost like we say in PR, never waste a crisis. I just did a post on LinkedIn saying, you should not be trying to do the status quo from pre-COVID to now, and from now to post-COVID. This is the time to invest in your own, not just career development, life development, where you're going to go, what's next. And this is the time to pivot. So I love the fact that you're trying to discover those dream jobs. So tell us where we can get a hold of the podcast first. I saw the website, thedreamjobpodcast.com. So it looks like you're playing the episodes there.
We are.
Are you
scroll down to the bottom there?
Some of the other podcast platforms?
We are. Scroll down to the footer on that page and you'll see we're up on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Podcasts. So any platform, we're on iHeartRadio. I think Alexa, we're on Alexa. So anywhere you enjoy podcasts, you should be able to find it. And we've got our first interview just dropped today. We've got new episodes dropping every Monday. We did a little tweener episode later on this week about COVID because we thought, hey, we started this conversation around meaningful work and pursuing your passions and finding purpose in your career. That was when unemployment was about 3%. We've had 20 million folks file for unemployment in the last 3 weeks alone. So let's talk about, some of the implications of COVID on pursuing meaningful work. And is it irrelevant? Do you just need to go find any job that pays the bills, or is there more than that? We think the latter. Listen on to find out more. So we got lots of episodes coming out.
So give us a tease. Who's the first that I saw this little tease of the title, the first episode, the interview that you're dropping. Who is it? And just give us a tease of that interview.
Sure. It's the title is The NFL Agent. So it's a friend of mine and my co-hosts who was a lawyer, graduated, went to law school, was working as a lawyer, and then kind of pivoted to become a sports agent. And now he represents several NFL players. Is kind of growing a sports agency. The one coming up next week is a gentleman who started a small clothing company called Shuker & Sons. It's like a high-end men's fashion company. He designs custom suits for DJ Khaled and Manny Pacquiao and others. But our big thing with this is so some of the other folks we have coming up, we've got a product manager at an education tech company. We've got a scout, a baseball scout for the Cleveland Indians. We've got a professional mountain guide, like lady who climbs mountains for a living. But because, we don't have a booking agent and we don't have, cachet to go get like celebrities and rock stars and these kind of typical
you have
dream
all these
jobbers.
Entourage people just lounging around. You don't put any of them to work, Kent?
I know I should. I know. You need to get me Ken Jeong. See, that's what I'm really talking to you today for. I know you're your old college buddy. But the whole idea is like we want to focus on people who are working just kind of normal jobs, and maybe even talk to folks that are working jobs that would sound terrible to us. Like we're going to have a person on coming up who does like Salesforce training, and I'm like, that sounds so boring, but like loves her job. And that's the whole point, is we're not trying to create this like aspirational Instagrammable lifestyle. It's like, no, go find out what it is that makes you tick, and then find a way to align that with what you do for a living.
Nice.
And it could look as different as people look. So yeah, we've got some fun stories, some fun people. Maybe one day, Kenny, you play your cards right, Kenny, we'll get you on as a guest. Because you love your job, right? When you say
in your penthouse overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's right. That's right.
So this is just a passion project of yours.
Yes.
What is the end goal? I mean, both of you guys seem to be charting a path yourselves where you are doing work that you love. It's not, sometimes people start podcasts or projects to find out the answer themselves, or to, really discover what the truth is at the end of the rainbow. It seems like, just our discussions and, friendship has shown me that you love what you do and you're good at what you do. Is there another end game, or is it just literally just you're fascinated by people that have seen this difference in culture, that, working for the man is very different than people who have somehow figured out this other thread?
Yeah, I think I'd be lying if I didn't say that, if there was some path where I was doing this full time as like a content creator, and as a, person who was kind of, leading conversations around meaningful work and somehow contributing, significantly to that discussion. Yeah, that would be awesome. But I harbor no kind of illusions about how easy that is to do. And I know it's a very, very small subset of internet content creators who that becomes their income. So I think for me, I realized over the past decade that creativity is an important outlet for me. I've had numerous blogs, and I love to write. Kenny, you and I have done videos and podcasts in the past, and in my previous role, content creation was kind of more core to the responsibilities. And the work that I'm doing now at Amazon, it's more the partnership side, it's more the biz dev side, and there's less content. And so on the one hand, this is just a creative outlet for me, and I think it's an important conversation and kind of a passion project to invest into. But I'm a big believer in, to borrow kind of a Gary V-ism, it's like doubling down on your strengths, figuring out what you're good at, and then investing heavily in that direction. And the little bit of self-awareness that I have has revealed that I think I'm okay at writing, and I think I'm okay at hosting conversations and kind of being natural live and in conversations. Viewers of this can feel free to disagree. But
I usually try to take that opportunity to disagree with you, fight and create this tension in our conversations. But this is one area where I can't disagree. You've backed me in the corner where I must acquiesce and say that Kent is right. I will say it this once, record it, frame it.
For posterity.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the fact that you are taking your creative energies and finding a way to express them and develop them and really keep that going, because both of us are of the same philosophy, right? Like version 1 is better than version none, as I always say, right? And that bias for action is what separates, in Gary Vee, is the winners from the losers. I don't think there really are that many losers, but I think it's, it separates the wheat from the chaff, right? Is the bias for action, just getting it done. I think is, especially during COVID, kudos to you, because I don't think most people are hustling that I know right now during COVID. Like, everyone's scrambling. Workload has doubled, tripled since pre-COVID. Everyone, I've heard the phrase that they've worked more this past month than they have in the entire last quarter or year at their job. That phrase, that sentiment has come up so much. So I give you kudos that you're taking the time intentionally to actually develop this kind of thing.
No, it's fun. It's fun. We didn't plan to launch in the middle of a global pandemic, but here we are. And I think the call out for a lot of folks is, life is crazy and life is busy, but it's also slowed down in a lot of really major ways for us. Even just we're not going out. And so using that as an opportunity to go do those things that you've been put on the back burner, or find the time, find the margin in your life that you might not have whenever it does go back to normal. So it's been fun, man.
So before I go, I just wanted to share everyone always asks these details, and I think this is just one of the things that if we could just quickly go over, what is your actual workflow or tools, or everyone who podcasts, everyone who creates these series types of things are using different apps and different tools. So do you mind sharing just literally like what recording, are you
Easy.
using a USB mic? Are you using just an iPhone? Are you using software? What are you using to record it and edit the actual podcast episodes?
Yeah, we record on just a Yeti Blue USB mic. So it's a like $100 mic you can get on Amazon. It has a little stand. It sits on the table, or a lot of people hook them up to booms, like Kenny's got his there. So it's an easy mic that's worked well for us. We record via a video platform called squadcast.fm.
How do you like that? I've never interacted with it, but I've seen other people use it.
It's okay. It was a little buggy at first, but generally connectivity is good. The thing that I like is it records, each audio stream separately. And so, and so you can mix them, and you've got duplicates and redundancy in case you have any issues with the files. And so the quality's always been really good. The interface is very straightforward. It's cheap. I think it's like $20 a month. It's not a lot.
Do you find it easy for the guest to be able to use it if they're not? Because a lot of times you'll interview guests and they don't like, even we used to use Skype in the old day to record interviews, use Ecamm to record it. But people consistently had problems with Skype, and we abandoned it. Is that the same thing with Squadcast?
There's been a few guys who had a hard time getting in, and then you get in, and like either the audio is not on, or like you can't see them, or you can't hear them. Right? It's like every other video call platform. So lately, it's been pretty consistently good. We've been interviewing guests who I think probably are more familiar with video platforms. We'll have backup options. Like I've used Uber Conference before as a backup kind of fallback. Squadcast doesn't have a call-in number. That's the only downside. Like you have to be plugged into the internet, which is I would prefer if there was a call-in number as well.
Right.
But yeah, it's been okay. I don't have a lot of experience with other platforms apart from Hangouts and Uber
and then
Conference.
Are you editing within Squadcast, or are you exporting and editing somewhere else?
No, we edit in whatever the Apple, is it GarageBand or whatever the Apple kind of audio editor is.
Gotcha.
We host on Buzzsprout. So that was another one. Did a bunch of research on like Libsyn and Podbean and a bunch of the different hosting platforms. Buzzsprout's super easy. If you're a new podcaster, the UI is really, really straightforward. It handles a lot of this stuff for you. I think the knock against Buzzsprout is maybe analytics and like the visibility you get into your data. But right now we have like 12 listeners, so it hasn't become a big problem yet. And that's kind of it. And then we've got an Instagram, we've got a Facebook. Our website's on Squarespace. Squarespace, super easy for building just basic websites.
Yeah, easy to maintain, right?
Easy to maintain, yeah. And I think we're gonna continue to build out from there, hopefully. So one day I'll have a real desk mic hookup like Kenny has, and we'll have a proper background, maybe a real studio that we'll build out. But right now we're keeping it cheap and keeping it scrappy.
I think no matter what, when you get famous with 1 million podcast downloads a week, you should still be in this closet. That would be the classic.
It could be like my brand, right? It could be kind of like my it's my Kent coming at you from the closet. Yeah, I'll stay here after COVID.
Well, thanks for checking in. I know you are busy with your real job, and I appreciate you just sharing this resource with others. I'm fascinated by both the network that you have and the conversations that we've had with others, fireside chat type stuff. And they've always been not the surface level stuff, right? Where we go a little bit deeper and interesting. So I'm looking forward to those conversations throughout the podcast. I'll have to download.
Yeah.
I listened. So I went onto iTunes and I found the podcast. The first 2 episodes are there, and I'm really excited that you're dropping your first real interview. And so I'll just have to go there, sync up, and listen to it today.
Subscribe. Get them dropped right to your phone. That's right.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the tip of the day. Google just launched a new Google Podcasts app. And so that is making the waves right now around the block. And you should play with it because it has a really good UI. It's really got some interesting features. And I think the fact that Google's getting into this game and adopting in terms of syndication and aggregation means that there's a future much brighter for podcasts even more. So, okay, thedreamjobpodcast.com.
Check it.
And hopefully we'll have everyone chime in and drop a positive review on iTunes, right? We want 5-star reviews. Those things
5-star
are
only.
like gold. It's like
They really are.
I don't know what the analogy is. For time, it's like dog years, right, in reverse. But for like one
For
review,
reach.
like that's you know who your real friends are by those that actually drop a review.
It's the currency of the modern age. That's right. Reviews and ratings. Give them up.
Well, thanks for joining, and
Yeah, man.
podcast soon.
All right. See you, Kenny.